Greetings. Welcome to another Cosmic Communion from the Galactic Zero Point in Costa Rica. Welcome if you're coming back. Welcome if it's your first time. These are time traveling capsules, time capsules in the no time, no space that you tend to find at the perfect moment in time in your reality. And so we come from the future with the codes of creation and messengers of truth and light. And so my name is Phinix online, but I was born Alicia. I still go by that name, Alicia Marie sometimes. And yeah, happy to have you here with us. We are the Cosmic Disclosure. Don't get it twisted. That's one of the things I'm here to bring, and I'm feeling the fire today, is about just the truth of like who we are, where we come from, what we represent, and like dodging the hijack of, you know, the eye candy or the holograms about aliens and UFOs and disclosure and yeah, all the stuff that's going on out there. And yeah, really just here as someone, as a guardian, to empower you to really go inside yourself, to really believe in yourself, and to really like connect directly back to the source and kind of drown out the noise of all the distractions of the multi-levels of you know, guides and channels and things, and like get right up in there into that ascended frequency and be the master bringing down ascended master wisdom and knowledge and information. Who's ready to do something like that? Anyone that's ready to purify their mind, body, and soul and return to their original roots so that they can be a planetary service. And so we don't use that terminology guardian lightly. It takes, and we don't use that terminology of the 144,000 lightly. Some people, you know, call it the chosen ones. And I'm like, it's not about you being a chosen one and someone else not being. It's anyone who chooses. It's anyone who chooses to clean it up, to raise it up, to rise it up, to go through the eye of the needle, to stand for something more than just yourself, to go from the superficial and the artificial, you know, to the service to self, to service to others. It's anyone who's ready. It's anyone who's willing to rise. And so that's why there's always an open invitation, an open initiation for those that are called to move through those pure crystalline fields and to start to really see it, feel it, hold it, embody it, live to tell. Yeah, so welcome. Thanks for being here. Let's drop in and bring you into the galactic kin of today. So I like to synthesize the galactic Maya Zolkin and move us through the daily count. And today is kin number 216. It's the yellow galactic warrior. I have a couple friends that I know that have this kin as their galactic kin. So it's their galactic birthday today. Two very special people in my life. And we're still in the wave spell of the red moon, which is about the purification, the flow, and the universal fire. And so let's see here, we've got yellow galactic warrior. I harmonize in order to question, modeling fearlessness. I seal the output of intelligence with the galactic tone of integrity. I love that the galactic tone, which is the 8th tone, is connected to integrity. And we're talking galactic integrity. We'll be talking about that today. And I'm guided by the power of universal fire, which is the yellow sun. Yeah, so here we are today, harmonic 54, galactic output, expressing intelligence of integrity. I am here for that today. I can feel it already flowing through. And so we'll get into that in a moment. But before we do that, let's also, because my boy Marcus is sitting behind the scenes, making this happen, popping up some slides for me. We're going to talk about Gene Key 62. in the tropical astrology transits, but we're in the no time, no space. So we're just looking at the collective code of reality right now. We're in Gene Key 62. And I got to give credit where credit is due. I found this in the Gene Keys global website. It looks like someone made this on AI. It looks nice. And so it doesn't seem like I can't use it. It was like in a public forum space. And so I sent it to my boy and I was like, let's show them a little bit of the 62. And so with each gene key, if you don't know, by the way, about your galactic signature, you can pull that up for free. You go to 13moon.com. You can pull your free Gene Keys profile at GeneKeys, GeneKeys.com. I am always available for sessions. I love diving deep into the cosmic galactic codes and really just kind of weaving and unweaving who you are, your cosmic roots and origins, and kind of just working in the intuitive fields. Ultimately, we're all the keys, we're all the codes. That's what we're here to remember. But we are born into this configuration with a specific neutrino imprint. And then we have our collective wave that the collective is going through. And so Gene Key 62 is the one that we're in now. And within each gene key, there are 3 levels. There's the shadow frequency, which I kind of call the like fear and survival dimension. You could even refer to it if you wanted to break it down in dimensions, like maybe the 3rd dimension. And then you have your gift frequency, which is more in the heart. And you could also say it's like maybe the no time. And, but with the open heart, like with the open heart of the causal plane, you can kind of go down into the shadow or you can kind of go up into the heavens. You're kind of in that midpoint. And so in the gene keys, the shadow is always connected to like an underwater or insect creature. And these would be like the spirit animals, and also connected if you have these types of animals in your dreams. Like if you have an animal in your dream, you can go and look it up and be like Gene Keys hedgehog, and it's like Gene Key 6, for an example. There's something called the Gene Keys dream arc. So this is a really fun way to like read the signs of numbers and animals and dreams and synchronicities, and how you can connect it a little more like an oracle to the Gene Keys. And so then the gift level is always going to be like a land animal. And the Siddhic frequency, which is what we would call like you merging with your divine essence, we're here to embody that. I remember when I first came into the Gene Keys, it seemed like the Siddhic frequency, the siddhis, the siddhas, were like, the idea of it was so rare and it was so far away. Like you have to do so much to achieve this space. And but anyways, it's available to us. All of this is available to us. It's all like a menu. It's whenever we choose. It's whenever we're ready. And obviously, in order to lighten up, you've got to let go of some things. And so we're in those processes of doing the purification and the cleansing so that we can rise up to the top, so that we can carry these bird frequencies, these Siddhic frequencies, where we're in the levitation field, where we're kind of flying around in the sky with the bird's eye view. And that's the city is always going to be connected to the bird. And so the 62 is connected to the woodpecker, which I've been hearing one all morning. We've got some trees outside where they like to come, and you can kind of see their holes and everything. And ours look very much like this. I know there's different variations of woodpeckers. And also, it's interesting, one time I was studying, well, I'll talk about it in a minute. It's about Arkansas. I want to talk to you about Arkansas. I'm writing this down. Arkansas, Arkansas, Atlantis, and the ivory-billed woodpecker. But for now, let's get back to it. We're looking at the rattlesnake in the fear dimension. It's the shadow of intellect. So it's the underworld, and intellect can be seen as a gift, but oftentimes it's a shadow. When we're starting to move into the mysteries of the Sophia, the mysteries of creation, the mysteries of the mother, the mysteries of like the theory of everything, everybody wants to get it down on paper and like get it all in specific like explanation to make the rational, logical mind like, make sense of it all. And yeah, unfortunately, it's that very thing, and the idea that you need to keep yourself safe that keeps you from like leaping into the void. and diving into the unknown, which is where the true mysteries of the feminine lie. And so that masculine, like logic, rational, intellectual, like tries to keep us safe. And we're moving into a time where your brain and your mind is not, for the most part, from what I understand, with a mental health pandemic going on in the world, it's not keeping you safe. And in fact, there's some damaging shit going through people's heads and their minds right now. And so we must learn how to embody our body, and work more with the feeling technology. We feel to heal. We're toroidal fields of energy. It's not about what you think. It's not about what you think you know. It's about how you actually feel in any given moment in time. And I'm not talking about like a frequency where you're just looking to escape and get into something to feel good for a second. I'm talking about being in that embodied field of existence, of bliss and ecstasy as our birthright, but not through a substance, right? Or a certain people, place, or thing. It is your eternal state. That's where we're here to return to. First, we have to remember that it exists. Second, we have to remember not to give our power away to another system, person, drug, to be able to come into the embodiment of our eternal birthright, and that bliss point field, that 0 point field, right? And so the links is the gift, and the gift is precision. And that's the middle world key. And the journey from the mental complexity to impeccable expression of the truth. So that's my mission today, that I can bring you some impeccable expression of truth. Impeccability also makes me think of the 4 agreements. Be impeccable with your word. That's one of the 4 agreements. The 4 agreements from Don Miguel Ruiz. Super simple book. I recommend people read through it once a year, unless you're really good at not taking anything personal. The first 2 codes, don't take anything personal and don't make assumptions. Like literally, I dismantled my pain body with those codes, with those 4 agreements. It was like, as soon as I felt any kind of something in my system, in my body, reactionary, like energetic or chemical reaction in my body, I would be like, oh, wait, hold up. Am I taking something personal? And usually I was. And from that moment, I could identify that the 4 agreements, which is the path of personal freedom, I would be like, oh, let me stop taking it personal. Nothing is personal. And then it's like cancel, clear, delete. Just like that, you can change a wave in your life, because sometimes somebody might take something personal, and then the next thing you know, they're like just filling themselves with poison and bitterness and mental thoughts inside of themselves. And it's like, don't take anything personal. And then the second thing is don't make assumptions. So like, let's just say I was like feeling some kind of like energy in my body, like a reactionary state or some kind of chemical reaction in my body. I would be like, okay, am I taking anything personal? No, I'm not. But then I'd be like, oh, am I making an assumption? Probably I am. Like, you could recognize, see, this is like how we start to empower ourselves to like give ourselves the keys, where we're not a victim to anything and we're in the driver's seat. We're in control, except this can be, what do you call it? Like double-edged, but not that, like almost like a paradox, this idea, because the first thing I always say is like, live and let God, like totally. And by God, I mean galactic ordering dynamic. Or surrender to the divine, allow myself to be a vessel for the divine will to flow through. So in that form, in that way, I'm not in control, but what I am in control of is negative thoughts, patterns, reactions, behaviors, and my chemicals being controlled by something outside of me, because I'm looking for sovereignty on all levels. So I'm making sure that there's nothing out there I'm giving my power away to, no one out there I'm giving my power away to, and just really being able to like feel within myself where I might have short-circuited, given my power, and bring it right back to me. Like, so I use those 4 agreements as, am I taking anything personal? Am I making assumptions? And then there's like be impeccable with your word. And then what's the third one? How can I not think of it? I know them all for sure. There's another one in there. I don't know. So anyways, these are the keys that we're in right now. And actually it's pretty interesting from a gematria perspective, if you know gematria. I usually do like a lot of handwritten gematria with where sometimes this is really working in the telepathic resonance field, actually, where like I'll just have a page and I'll write A through Z, 1 through 26. That's basic gematria. There's also Hebrew gematria, English gematria, but I go with like basic numerical code because I can carry that with me anywhere. I don't need to calculate it. So that's me. You can go online and calculate gematria as well. But it's good exercise. It's good exercise for your mind. So anyways, here's what I do. A through Z, 1 through 26. And then all of a sudden I'll just get a drop in like a certain word or many words, and I'll write them all down and I'll calculate them out. And then eventually what typically happens is I'll end up like hitting the same number a few times or even just a couple times. And I'm like, oh, wow. Okay, we're on to something, you know? So I know that the number 62 is connected to Mason. I just think that's kind of interesting. And the number 62 is also connected to Torah, if I'm not mistaken. I'm doing this off of memory. I can't quite remember. There was like another one that I hit that was like a triple transaction as well. Oh, 62 plus 62, Mason, Torah. Interesting. 124. That's the kin of this whole year, 124 resonant seed. Anyways, I'm not going to go too far down that road right now. But my main point is, and also I connect the 62 to my grandfather because he was kin number 62, white planetary wind. He is a Vietnam veteran, or was buried in a Texas Memorial military grave back in Texas, San Antonio area, I think, like right after I moved to Costa Rica. Right after I moved to Costa Rica, I get a call. Literally, this is so crazy, actually. I feel like I'm supposed to tell this story. Because also I feel all of these animals are connected to Texas pretty big. And that's like, those are my roots. That's kind of where I came from. You could see a lynx, you could see a woodpecker, you could definitely see a rattlesnake in Texas. And so my grandfather, yeah, well, okay, here I am. I come from Austin, Texas. I float into Costa Rica. I think I'm just here for 2 months. And the next thing you know, we decide that we're gonna like sell everything and move here and enroll our kids in school and like the whole thing. It was a pretty wild, like very sudden decision. Pretty unexpected. And but I died a couple years before, and I was doing a lot of unexpected things after I died. It was just a wild ride, roller coaster ride, and a dragon roller coaster ride. So anyways, we enrolled the children in the school, and the first day they're in school, my husband and I at the time, we go out and have a little gallo pinto breakfast, which here in Costa Rica, that's like, rice and black beans, maybe some eggs at the time. I don't know if I was eating them, but yeah, and plantains. I love plantains. They're so sweet and so good. But here's the thing. We're sitting there and I tell my husband at the time, I'm like, DH, I feel like at the time my mom and dad lived in Florida and my grandparents lived in New Braunfels, Texas. And I tell David, I was like, DH, I don't know why. I feel like something's going to happen to one of my grandparents and my mom and dad are going to move to Texas. I mean, minutes later, my mom messages me and she said, hey, give me a call. Something's happened to your grandfather. And in fact, this is pretty crazy. Like it would have been right around this time. It was like a July timeframe. Like I have to go look and see what day it was. It might have even been today. That's fucking crazy. Okay. Oh, Mom, I'm gonna go look it up after this. I gotta go find my grandfather's obituary, okay? And so obviously, I just gave you the end of the story. My mom messages me, says something happens to my grandfather. The next thing you know, I call and she's like, something happened with his heart, and they're getting him to the hospital, and he had probably already died at that moment, but I didn't know it yet. And so, yeah, the next thing we're getting on a plane to go back to Texas to go to a funeral. I hadn't been to a funeral, and I'd only been to a couple funerals in my whole life, and none of them were like for people I was close to. Like one time I met this dude who fell in love with a coal miner and moved to the mountains of Virginia, and like his aunt died or something, and I went inside that church and I just freaking cried the whole time. It was like I didn't understand the empathic nature of things, and also like, yeah, I work a lot with the scorpionic energies of kind of cleaning things up and like moving people, moving things from one world to another world, I guess you could say. But I didn't really understand that's what I was going through. And so I've been to that funeral, and I've been to a funeral in high school where a couple boys had gotten a car accident. And that was a pretty shocking thing. And again, I always just bawled my eyes out. There was like a sensitivity and empathic nature to all of that. I mean, who doesn't cry at a funeral? It's kind of, yeah. So, anyways, next thing you know, we're getting on an airplane and we're going back to Texas, and I'm never going to see my grandfather alive again. And I loved him so much. He had a hard life with what happened with Vietnam. I wish I would have asked him more questions. I think we kind of just have this idea what happens in these so-called wars, but like a lot of people don't ask questions. And I guess now that we're here, what I'm really rolling into is I like to story tell a little bit, and I bring a lot in through story. And it's like I have my feelings about war and military. In fact, I've lost some friends recently because I had made a post that said the military is um, satanic ritual abuse, mind control, and human sacrifice masked as freedom, hidden in plain sight. And oof, I pissed off some peeps on that one. But I remember when I was under the spell. I remember when I was under the spell, when I believed that the military was here to protect me and to bring me freedom. But then it's like then I die on the table, and then I wake up, and like all of a sudden I have this x-ray vision and I can see a little more. It's like I awoke from this sleep, and I was like, wait, what's going on here? Oh, freedom? Oh, massive amounts of killing people and shaving people's heads and injecting them, and like questionable super secret operations that what? Who's running this show? They put it in such a way that if you dare ever ask any questions, you're the one that's being offensive. So part of my awakening process after dying on a table and waking up was like, what's really going on here? I'm seeing, one time when my grandfather was alive, and he needed to have a surgery. So he went to the Veterans Hospital, and I go in there with him, and literally it was like a battleground in there, San Antonio, Texas, and I see like just so much damage, just people without legs, people without arms, people with like scars, missing things. And I could feel the level of sadness. I could feel the level of depression, oppression. I was understanding, the level of mental health, and yeah, and people just lined up for their pills, walking on crutches, and just all the lights. I remember, and that was even before I died. I remember like leaving there going, what the fuck is really going on here? What is all this for? You know? And then I remember one day, like I was in the kitchen with my husband when I still lived in Texas, and I was like, I was like, you know what? The military isn't what I thought it was. I was like, I have held my hand on my heart. I've sang the Star Spangled Banner. I have cried tears of joy when I see the red, white, blue flag. And what the fuck is going on? Why are all these people being killed? You know, why are all these men coming back tattered and torn and bruised and angry and like can't even fall asleep in a bed? Certainly aren't, you know, and the wives are like having to deal with this, you know, and like what's real, the real damage of what's really going on. And the truth is, there's a lot going on that either they don't remember because they've totally been mind controlled and drugged, or they've been sworn to secrecy, or they've been so mind controlled that they believe what they're doing is for something righteous. They don't know that they're being used as pawns in a game, you know. And then also there's this like addiction to the whole like video games of the military and like shooting guns and operations and forces and like, yeah, it's unfucking fortunate what's happened on all levels. You know, I always was wondering, why does war exist? Like, these were like some of the simple things that my simple heart's desires for like wanting peace on this earth. I started to ask, like, why does war exist? Why is there poverty? Why are children getting cancer? Why is everybody getting sick? And the answer came to me strangely enough when I came to Costa Rica and this girl handed me a book. She told me it would be crazy and out there. And it was called Bringers of the Dawn, Teachings of the Palladians. Bringers of the Dawn, Teachings of the Palladians. Now, this was back in 2018. And this was like right before my grandfather died, actually. It's all in the same like little synchronistic field. And I opened up this book and I couldn't believe it was written like 26 years before or something like that. And it was like original gangster stuff, just leading the way in something much more galactic. And it was like, at that point, I still had like quite a few layers of like, I don't want any, you know, I don't want to look too crazy. I'm already looking a little crazy because I'm like leaving my country. I'm moving to a new country. I'm selling my big McMansion, I'm leaving my work, like I'm already looking pretty crazy, right? So I'm not ready to go quite Palladian yet. So I read this book in secret and I'm like, oh my God, this is more true than anything I've ever read. Now I understand war. Now I understand illness. Now I understand darkness. Now I understand you got to take everything to the galactic level. You got to take everything to the galactic level to understand what's really going on this planet. Talk about a cosmic awakening, you know, you go from human, two-strand DNA. That was one of the biggest shocks. You know, I was reading something in the Bringers of the Dawn and it was talking about how we were like the idea that we had junk DNA. And it was just like a question mark, you know, what's going on with this junk DNA? And that basically we had much more access, that we had much more DNA than a two-strand DNA that we've been taught in science, if we were even taught that, you know. And yeah, this idea that we were cut off from our original intelligence, you know. And hey, did you make any more of this? Thank you. So like we were cut off from our original intelligence or our more expanded intelligence. And it was like, once I heard that for the first time, it's really started to open my mind and expand me to like, who am I really? And what is up with this DNA? And if I don't trust, you know, it helped that I died on the table. Thank you, baby. It helped that I died on the table basically through, oh. So it's kind of funny because we don't have a dog. And anyways, as I'm talking, this little dog just like pops into our house over here. He's little visitors. By the way, the gene key for the dog, like that's an example where we're awake in the dream, we're always in the dream. And when an animal comes into the field, I'm like, oh, which gene key is that? So the 37 and the 40 are dog and cat. They're programming partners. So 37 and 40. 40 is divine will. And that's the cat. Sacred seal number 1. And 37 is the code that unlocks it, connected to the dog, which is the Magdalena code from tenderness, or from weakness to tenderness. Okay, so anyways, we got the dog visitor here. That's pretty cute. What was I talking to you about? I was talking to you about DNA, 2-strand versus 12-strand, like basically that we had been kind of edited or genetically modified, something like that. It's like you start to consider the idea of this for a minute, and then it's like you can kind of peel away some levels and some layers about like, who are you? Where did you come from? Why are you here? All of the things. So, oh yeah, that's what I was talking about, medical malpractice. You know, here I am, like I was a normal human. I went to the doctor all the time. I went for all my checkups. I probably even went to the dentist every 3 months. Like, you know, I got C-sections with all of my children. I was paying $1,500 a month for my healthcare, insurance, you know, and like I genuinely, just like I believed in the military, I genuinely believed, you know, the medical people were like here to protect your privacy and take care of you and help you when you were sick. And hopefully, you know, you're never sick and you don't need to go to the hospital. But if you do, that they're your allies and, you know, they're here to take care of you and they're here to protect your children and all of the things. It's like, oh yeah, no. And even it's so crazy thinking back to, because I had a pretty nice demeanor, what do you call those things? Pediatrician, you know, the dude that like takes care of your kids. In my particular case, it was a dude, and he was ex-military, which is kind of funny because he seems like so soft and gentle, but then now that even all like, yeah, and he had all these adopted kids. Oof. Damn. You know, I'm just unraveling all of this on all levels because I've been putting together for a long period of time that like I think we're all kind of coming into the field where we're not looking away or in denial at the idea of like what's really going on a lot of times with missionaries, with adoption, with fostering. Like I wish it was as beautiful as it seems on the outside, but there's a whole lot more of a scandal that's going on most of the time and has been going on for a long period of time. Like I know a guy online, Derek Rose, that's part of the Conscious Resistance or something. He was talking about this particular case with this dude that's connected to the Mormon church named David Levitt. And he like, you know, adopted a child that was a native of some sort, and apparently like he was using this child in satanic rituals and maybe in pedophilia and things like that. And then it's like this was like kind of caught and kind of exposed, and then all of a sudden he's in you know, he's kind of run off into Scotland and has a castle, and it's like it's all just brushed under the rug, like it never even happened or something like that. Listen, this isn't a one-time thing that one dude got away with. This has been happening forever. This is a process. This is revelations, and this is cosmic disclosure. And these are the things that we can't look away from. The actual truth of what's been happening in all of the churches, in all of these religious institutions, and all of these missionaries that seem like they're like taking care of families, tribes, indigenous, whatever. Let's just call it all for what it really is. More often than not, something is happening to these innocent souls, to these innocent children when they're adopted. And then that's not even going into the level of my understanding that's been coming up about the breeding programs and what's really happening on reservations with indigenous tribes and the impregnation of different bloodlines, Scottish bloodlines, Mason bloodlines, you know, that are like sowing their seeds into these different genetic code fields of DNA in certain locations. All of these churches that have missionaries that like travel around to all these different locations, and then they come back with all these kids, or they come back with women that are pregnant, and then they take those children. Like This is not a one-off thing. This has been, our world's been running like this for a really long time. All through the United States government. All right, so I didn't know I was going to go here today, but here we are. All roads lead to Rome. All roads lead to, unfortunately, the real operations that have been going on behind the scenes with experimentation on humanity on all levels. In the hospitals, with the military, in the government, in the mental health institutes, and really now, like, just right online in front of your eyes with every piece of technology that we use. We're consenting to the agenda every time we use it. Now, I do believe that we can protect ourselves and go in and infiltrate systems, but we should be aware that the Department of Defense created the internet, and that it was always about getting into the minds and understanding how humans work and their thought processes, and how people can be controlled on energetic levels with frequency fields, electromagnetics, etc. That's why I always say the military doesn't look like it used to. It used to look like camo tanks and bombs, but it's sitting right in your hand. That's the real nuclear weapon. You know, it affects your mood, it affects your emotions, it affects your addictions, it affects your desires, it affects the way you feel about yourself. Hidden in plain sight, right? So I'm talking about a lot of shit right now, just hopping around. But I want to lead this into like this fire I was feeling a little bit this morning about what I'm observing and witnessing that needs to be healed in the collective around everyone just hoping and wishing and praying and waiting for someone to be the hero of the story, you know, the one that's gonna like save the world, and like, and how I'm observing and witnessing, like, I don't even want to say it out loud because I don't want to acknowledge it, but it's there. This idea that someone in a presidential position in a White House in a government is going to be the one. You know, even when I see these topics come up, it's like the White Hats saved 20 more children, you know, the military uncovered, and I'm like, they're the ones running the operations. This is one of the greatest tricks and the biggest tricks of this operation, is to actually believe that they're the ones taking care of it. And when they understand that their time is up and it's being fully disclosed and exposed, and that it doesn't necessarily always look like you might think, it doesn't always look like, you know, muddy kids being dragged through some tunnels under the ground. This has been going on forever. It's going on. I mean, a child's basically being trafficked or violated every time they're brought into a hospital and they're injected with poison. You know, that is an invasion. That's an alien invasion. That is child abuse. And so I want to say, forgive us all for we know not what we do, that we have been like protectors and even enablers and possibly even handlers for things that are not good, right, or healthy for our children. So when we talk about protecting our children and protecting the children, let's start there with what's really going on in the medical field. I'm not here to be politically correct about these topics. The truth is not always popular. It can be offensive. See, for some reason, I was kind of able to clear this idea of like, oh, better not say that, it could be offensive. Better not say that, that could be triggering to someone. Let's cut through the bullshit because we're here to protect the children. How do each and every one of us become a part of that? We stop giving them up. We stop consenting them to this medical game, to this experimentation on their innocence, to the extraction of their life force through technology, through education, through the medical systems. It starts with each and every one of us. You know, our children are born into our hands, and then we're willingly giving them up to the government for their social security number. It's immediately a contract. And then we're bringing them to the doctor to get them vaccinated. You know, when my son was born, Dyer, and this was the day that I died, it was May 10th, 2016. And I'm literally like, I'm having a seizure on the table, but I'm like awake while it's happening. And they're kind of like, they've kind of left me for dead. Sometimes I question if it was a planned event from the beginning, but we won't go there. I understand that everything happens by design. And so I was able to trust that. Talking about malpractice in the hospital, right? And I get it. Everyone, when I bring this shit up, people are like, yeah, but the hospital saved my life. What if I break my leg? I'm like, I get it. All right. But also, like, eventually you go into dimensions where you're not here to die, and you're not here to have an accident, and you're not here to have a traumatic event that needs to wake you up. Like, you're not here to break an arm. You're not here to need a doctor. As soon as I stopped believing in it, I stopped needing it. That is how holographic realities actually work. Like, it wasn't so long ago that I was thinking for the first time, I don't want to pay so much money for healthcare. And I was thinking, oh my God, if I don't pay my healthcare, I could get in trouble by the government. If I don't pay my healthcare, then when I file my taxes, I'm going to have to pay a fine. I mean, I can't believe we're still falling for this bullshit. That's how it works in the United States. Here I was paying $1,500 a month, and then Obamacare comes out and like all this stuff. It's like, if you don't pay this amount for your health insurance, which you need every single month, then when you file taxes, you're going to have to pay fines to the government. I'm like, ugh. You know, and I was nervous about that. I was like a very compliant citizen that believed in like bowing down to government systems and paying them and not getting in trouble, you know, keeping in good faith. All the while, there's so much corruption in the government. All they're doing is experimenting and making millions and billions off of innocent humans that are clueless and unconscious to the entire operation. So the whole idea, like a lot's been coming up lately about, at least in my field, about cosmic disclosure and Laura Eisenhower and her grandfather Eisenhower, and how he made a treaty. She says that this is not the case, but it doesn't. All of it's just timelines. It's not just one man, but we're also not here to make excuses for anybody. I really don't believe there was a president in the United States of America that didn't do satanic ritual and sacrifice to get into that position. That's like one of the big revelations we have to understand about what's really going on in governments. There are no exceptions to this rule. People still making excuses and pretending like Trump's going to be the one or something, and I'm like, there's like literal proof of what he's done and how he's behaved and who he's affiliated with. But like, there are times you make excuses or rationalize or protect or defend, you know, these pedophile behaviors or dishonor of the feminine. So that's the healing that's taking place right now. We don't make excuses. We don't hold out for hoping that the one that's been completely dishonorable to the feminine and to humanity in all ways is all of a sudden going to be the one. That is the narcissist, psychopathic, false king of tyranny, you know, and then the submissive woman that's like always hoping that he's going to come around and change the next time around or something like that. This goes both ways. This is not just a masculine, not just a feminine. It's basically about empowerment versus disempowerment. So we take everything to the galactic level, galactic control systems and troll systems. galactic medical experiments. War is a galactic experiment. So the whole idea was with the Grady Treaty, it doesn't matter who signed it, who didn't sign it, whatever the fuck. It's just a timeline that ultimately they say there were agreements made that the human race could be used for experimentation. Not all of them, just some, like a small percentage. But I'm like, it's all hidden in plain sight. The entire medical system and the entire military industrial complex and the government systems are the alien experiments that are going on this planet right now. Negative alien agenda. And it was during the Eisenhower presidency actually that NASA was signed into creation. Now, when you think of NAA, which means negative alien agenda, you can look up and read and do your own research on this within the Ascension Glossary, and you think of NASA, NASA, and you just kind of flip the letters around, it's negative alien agenda, right? The negative alien agendas make you think that we need to mine the earth for resources in order to make spaceships to go up in the sky. That's a negative alien agenda. Right? It's all externalized. It's all physical. It's all material. You actually have to destroy and mine the earth for resources and use a ton of humans and a ton of materials to make these so-called, let's say, spaceships, right? Mimic technology. Trying to talk about free energy, but there's nothing free about it. You know, exploding these technologies in the sky, they basically look like Hiroshimas. They look like nuclear weapon explosions hidden in plain sight, and everyone's watching them on TV and taking pictures. Oh no, another starship exploded. Maybe next time, Elon. You know, everyone's still waiting for Elon and Trump to be the heroes. This is that false paradigm that has to fall, and it falls when we stop having hope in people that have clear track records that they're not here for the human race or the planet. So this is where the Guardians rise. This is where the galactic warrior that I'm feeling right now is coming up. It's like, we must empower ourselves, and it starts with like taking care of our physical vessel first and taking care of our children, and not giving them up to technological and medical and military experiments. Because there's this one like idea of this frontline, front-facing idea of what the military is here for, but then there's the truth of what's actually happening behind the scenes there. So the truth has to come out. And it can only come out when we're willing to see it. And the truth is actually already out, but we haven't been willing to see it on many levels, you know? So that level of denial, that cognitive dissonance, you know, that breakthrough, that shock, right? When you realize that one story from the Mormon church isn't just one story, right? It's a smoking gun about an operation that's been going on forever. And a lot of women in these church families where their husbands, you know, were doing things to their children, but they like either really were totally clueless, or they were just like pretending they were clueless, like pretending they didn't see. Maybe they were being drugged too, I don't know. But there was this like whole idea of like keeping it all looking perfect and pretending like nothing's going on and don't ask any questions and look away. And like, I know that there's been a lot of like mind control and different and traumas and things like that that kind of make women like overlook things and make excuses. Yeah, we're not in that time. I always say when the mother is in charge, everything is taken care of, and the true mother is here to protect and guard. The guardian protectors, the guardian alliance. No more lies. We don't make excuses for violating the innocence of a child. We don't overlook anything like that. We don't just keep it quiet when we see something or we notice something. We confront something directly. We use our voice. This is the healing of the feminine, when she listens to her intuition and uses her voice and confronts something directly. Hey, this feels off. Hey, I'm noticing a pattern. Hey, I'm noticing a behavior. Hey, I've got some questions. You know, that's the healing. So on an archetypal frequency like wave that I'm feeling this morning, it's about no longer making excuses for people that have enough evidence against them that they've been dishonoring children, feminine, earth, dishonoring humans, people. No longer making excuses for the man or the woman that's been in that type of character, in the hopes that they're going to come around and change, or that they're not the same, without confronting it directly and talking it out directly with non-avoidance. Zero avoidance. We don't avoid. This is the next step in the mission of anyone that is called into guardianship on this planet. Because there's a rectification to take place. I mean, it starts within your own heart, but then it also starts with like the direct confrontations of things and that code of honor. To actually end this beast on this planet on all levels. I was talking to a friend. She said she'd really gotten involved in the MAGA. I still don't even understand or know exactly what that means, but I know it's connected to the Trump stuff. And she was like, you know, like I fell for it. It was like, everyone is, and you put money in, and like everyone's just hopeful, you know, you're looking for hope. You're looking to believe in something. And I get it. I'm like, all right, let's start a fucking rally. Let's do it. Let's rally in integrity. Like, we're in the galactic tone of integrity today, and I'm pulsing integrity to you. And I'm saying, like, I'm calling anybody out that is not in integrity. And you know what? In order to do that, you have to be living in integrity. I am in 100 motherfucking % integrity. And within that integrity, I have the right to ask someone if they're in integrity. And to call something out that doesn't look like integrity. And so massive amounts of questions around military, government, and medical affiliations. And it's crazy, I just saw what was going on. In one way, the government doesn't really exist in my world. And then in another way, I feel a responsibility as a guardian, because I understand that there are still a lot of people, you know, glued into this world stage hologram of this dominant image of government and military and cosmic disclosure, that I feel it's good to have a balanced understanding, you know, a neutral understanding of like what's being imprinted in the field and what's being communicated out there. And I saw this thing come across with Donald Trump in the White House. And the next thing you know, like, I see this dude kind of next to him, and I'm like, oh my God, is that Michael Dell? And so I look up, you know, Michael Dell, Donald Trump. And yes, Michael Dell was there. It's kind of crazy, all these connections to Austin, Texas, which again is like kind of my home hub, where I come from before I came here 8 years ago, where I died. Austin, Texas, Mopac St. David's Hospital. It's so crazy how they name hospitals after saints. Isn't that funny? When you really learn like what's going on with hospitals and the Vatican and the black market of placentas and blood and plasma, you're like, whoa. Question everything. That's actually the 5th agreement. There's the 4 agreements and there's the 5th agreement. The 5th agreement is question everything. or something like that. So, okay, shit, I was telling you something and then I like hopped to the thing, Austin. Oh yeah, Michael Dell. I worked for Michael Dell for 8-9 years in Austin, Texas, in headquarters. So here was the thing. It was like tech billionaire Michael Dell contributing $6 billion to the Trump Trust for Children or something like that. And I'm like, what is this? Some kind of AI child experiment? I'm not sure what's going on here. I guess from an unconscious level, especially in a land or world of oppression and poverty, it could look like there are solutions coming from a government. Yeah, I don't know. Jewish billionaires in the tech world, big money, children. You know, Michael Dell has 2 children's hospitals. One is Dell Children's Hospital. The other one is called the Ascension Hospital or something like that. Strange reversal code. Yeah, question everything. Aliens have always been here. And they look like men in suits. They look like a lot of things, but aliens have always been here. Our reality is much more ET, extraterrestrial or extra celestial, than we might understand. And we need to understand in order to equip ourselves with the empowerment and the survival of our planet and our bodies and our souls. Really. When something's going on in your body, and how do you do this, right? Like, how do you empower yourself? Number 1, if something's going on in your physical vessel and your physical body, like you're having a pain or a discomfort or you're having symptoms of some sort, instead of running to a doctor, start asking yourself to get real with yourself. What am I doing that's out of alignment? Where am I living a lie? How am I not taking care of my body? You know, illness and sickness is not a mystery. It means you're not in alignment and you're not taking care of yourself. It's that simple. Of course, there could be roots in trauma and all of these things, but we cannot be, in a world of information, we cannot be clueless about what's going on with our bodies and that mind, body, soul, spirit connection, and actually empowering ourselves to be our own healers. And like all these excuses can come in, but but I need medicine, but I have a disease, but my doctor, but I've got cancer, but I gotta have a surgery. All right, maybe that's not who I'm talking to here. I'm talking to ones that are feeling the call to empower themselves to be their own healers until they actually don't need to heal anymore, because that's just a whole nother hamster wheel anyways. The healing and the trauma is an implant. See, we're going back to the original codes. We're going back to the original blueprint. We don't even need a med bed. We're not waiting for a machine that plugs into the wall to heal us. We remember that we have the power. We are equipped with the divine intelligence to restore our physical vessel, to return back to the direct connection to the source, to remember our life force, to remember how to utilize our bodies in the appropriate ways. So when we have been abusing our body, we will feel that pain and we will feel that suffering and we will feel that trauma. And when we've been loving ourselves and loving our bodies, we will feel that too. We will feel that nourishment. We will feel that nurturing. Right? And when we stop abusing ourselves, we stop abusing others. When we start loving ourselves, we start loving others. But what a disempowering thing that we were born into a reality of domestication. That's another thing the Four Agreements talks about in the very beginning, the domestication process. Where from the minute that we're born, usually in a hospital, we run all these tests and we do all these pricks and pokes and blood work and all of the things and the cuts. We don't need any of that shit, you know? You know, I've come a long way from really being dependent on government systems, financial systems, medical systems. I've come a long way in a short period of time. You know, I needed to remove myself from the mecca of it so that I could remember and not be surrounded by too many people that are really like down in it, because I would be knowing like the compassion and the empathy in me would be like, if you say this, this is going to sound far out there and the people aren't going to be able to receive it. And it's going to be offensive to them because they're all wrapped up in the medical systems and the government systems and the tax systems and the military systems. And it's like, no, I had to like get all the way out of it and like kind of like a mummy, you know, like I had been preserved. I took off all the wrappings, and then it was like, now I'm just kind of sitting more in the 0 point in my inner reflection field. And I am speaking with an American. I was born in the United States of America, right? So I'm when I speak of these things, these programs, the military, the medical, like it is different. It operates a bit differently in the United States than it does in other countries. You could say just like the USSR, Soviet Union was kind of an experiment back in the day. Like I have friends that came from Russia and Ukraine, and they talk about the times that they had. Like one of my friends had told me she grew up in a space where they couldn't watch American television. They couldn't see anything on the outside. They kind of lived almost like in a compound. It sounds like weird and oppressive at first, but then I'm like, no wonder. Like now I get it a little more. A lot of people when they were growing up, it was like, protect your children from the United States of America and their television. Oh, hi, River.
We brought the food.
Oh, you did. Wow. She's so cute. Oh, you have raisins and nuts. Yummy. Can I have some? Oh, you're so sweet. Pasas.
Raisins.
That's what raisins are called. Pasas. Pasas baraca. I've never heard of the baraca. Like
Colombiano.
Oh, it's Colombian.
Barraco is like
Kind of like a grape, right? I always say brush your teeth
Yeah.
really good after eating raisins, right?
No.
Oh, I feel like an apricot.
Apricot.
Get a little sugar high here. I don't usually have regular sugar in my life, so this is so sweet to me. Like a banana is so sweet. I don't really use added sugar in anything. Every once in a while we'll have like tapa dulce, which is like the more natural sugar here, and honey, of course. Yeah, when people come to visit, I'm always like, please bring me honey from your location so I can receive the codes. Bring me honey, bring me mushrooms from your location so I can like feel what's going on with the bees there, with the frequency there. Yeah. I have this dream and this vision. You know how some people have wine cellars and stuff like that? It's like, I'd like to have a honey cellar with a collection of honeys of this sacred substance, basically, from all over the world in different locations. And I guess with that, I'm saying like, I always have a pretty open invitation for people that are feeling the call to come to Costa Rica and do some direct work. Yes, thank you. And I'm always open to the online connections as well. And with that being said, I'm going to say something. I don't usually get those weird messages from people, but I have had a few where I can tell these dudes are like trying to like poke around and see who will talk to them. I just kind of put it out there right away. hey, in case you didn't know, I'm holding a pure, clean field. I'm not interested in your fishing games. You know, like, don't play around with little games when people come in trying to fish for your information and your attention and your energy and like to see if you want to flirt and shit like that. Let them know right away you don't play games. Unless you're a game player, I'm not interested in games like that. I'm here for planetary liberation and planetary ascension. I keep shit clean. We're raising the bar here. Maybe you've never been in contact with a woman who's not here to play games, not looking for flattery, not looking for any kind of games, you know? And like set that standard and raise that bar. That's an invitation to all women and men, that we're not just running around sending weird, stupid messages trying to see who's like, you know, like all these dick pics and shit. Like, I can't believe that even exists out there. No one's ever felt comfortable enough to even consider such a thing with me. You know, don't open up those gates. There is a level of resonance, right? So like, make sure that you're not throwing out suggestive shit that's inviting that in. And so I don't play in those suggestive types of ways. You know, start to pay attention to what you attract to yourself. If you're hungry for attention and you're looking for something out there and you're utilizing your body or your beauty or whatever to attract something, which is really about insecurity within your own self. You know, so when we come into like that solid confidence in ourselves, we know we're beautiful. You know, we know we're whole. We're not hungry for needing somebody's outer affirmation out there. You know, when you start to hold a field like that, you start to bring in good, crystal clear resonance reflections. Yeah, this goes both ways, male and female. But just in case anyone does come into the bravery of sending me something where they're talking about looks or all of these things, I like to just respond very clear, like, I hold a pure, clean field. I'm not fucking around here. Just to kind of get the record straight, you know, and I don't create confusion in the field. And I think it's important for women to not be utilizing their beauty as a power and manipulation and control mechanism. That is a final healing that needs to take place in the feminine. And that is what invites our men to rise up into more pure, respectful, and honorable fields. You know, as people are coming out and calling themselves New Earth, this or that, I'm paying attention. Does it seem like they honor the feminine? Like, I'm gonna call one out right now, straight up. You know, I'll watch a couple videos of Sasha Stone because he's talking about the New Earth and New Earth frequency and exchange and all of that. But I feel how he talks to people. I feel his like cut off, like not really interested in what, like self-centered, not really interested in what anybody else has to bring. I feel a level of like disrespect to the women. Like, I feel that. I see that. It's super clear to me. That doesn't feel like a New Earth leader to me, no matter what the titles say. Besides that, there's a lot of questionable shit going on with the whole banking and the international bankers and the royal bankers. It's like, it's tricky, you know, because there's a lot of words being used in there where he is calling out the Vatican and the dark side. And like, you could kind of be convinced that he's for the people. And there is something in me, and the empath nature of me, that's like, oh, maybe so, maybe it is, maybe. But so far, it still feels like the same old financial game. It still feels like another trick. So it's just important that we equip ourselves and we start thinking for ourselves, and we tune into our intuition, and we trust our intuition, and we speak our intuition. We use our voice and we use our power of trusting our own intuition to speak what's going on, because the manipulation in the field will be like, oh, well, that's her needing to heal her relationship with the masculine, that she's suspicious. That no, that's me trusting my power. That's me trusting my vision, my virtue, my clarity, my insight. You get to choose for yourself. You get to think for yourself, of course. But there are ulterior motives. And that's the tricky part about money, you know, is that when somebody's making money off of something, it's very easy to have an ulterior motive, even if it might be hidden on the front lines, and it might even look like saviorship or helping. There's a lot of financial gimmicks and games out there. Some people want the financial success, some people want the recognition success, some people want the power. You know, it's like it's a little different for everyone, but for us to start to come together more in councils where there's not just one leader, so that we can all hold each other accountable. If we get a little, hey Rivers, is the little sound okay? You know, where we come into councils and we hold each other accountable, that our egos don't ever get too inflated. And that we really come together in councils of the law of one to truly serve the mission and to serve the people and to serve humanity. That's what I've been calling in for a really long time, is just like getting the ones together that really say that they're here to serve. All right, well, let's do it. And this is a Galactic Warrior Day of Integrity. We're calling in integrity on all levels. Speaking of, oh, and by the way, in the Galactic Maya year, we will be in the tone of integrity all year. The day out of time is always July 25th, and it'll be kin number 228, yellow resonant star. And then the next day, July 26th, is the kin of the new year. And so that ends up being like the essence of the entire year to come, which is kin number 229, red galactic moon. So it is about purification. In fact, a lot of what's going on in this wave, we're in the 8th day of it, which is connected to the red moon and purification, will be kind of what's going into this next year to come, because the theme is the red moon and it's the galactic tone of integrity. Wow, so I'm actually feeling how the Galactic Warrior is so connected to this whole year to come, starting on July 26th, this count.
Why are you with them?
What am I waiting for? So, okay, galactic tone of integrity is what we're talking about. Integrity. So the new year starts on July 26th, galactic tone of integrity, purification, universal, flow. Gene key 18 is integrity. If you want to read and get into the gene keys a little bit, it's about integrity. Wow, I opened right to it. Ooh. Oh my God. Okay, so fun. So obviously we're going to bring in the 18 a little bit, even though we're in the 62, because I was thinking of the word integrity, and I was thinking of gene key 18. And so literally I just open up my book and it's on the 18, integrity. It says telectanon at the bottom. I have a lot of stuff in my book and I don't want it to drop out. So including a golden heart is in here. So we got that golden heart vibe. The 18 is the healing power of the mind, taking on the world, the basis of psychology. 14 to 21 and the mental patterns, governing the infrastructure of the physical, emotional, and mental health. Revolution in the way we approach the notion of child's education. It's a big part of this. And I have this little page of notes. It's a little tattered and torn here. Part of my Dead Sea Scrolls is what I say, but I want to see what it says here. Some things that I wrote. Some I might have written from my own thoughts, and some could be notes from the keys themselves. And I wrote this on 195 Blue Cosmic Eagle, my mom's galactic birthday. Doing your genetic laundry. Stability, confidence, Strength. Own what is yours to own. The fear of freedom. 17, hold integrity by challenging all misrepresentations of truth in the world. Damn, exactly. I feel that right now. Hold integrity by challenging all misrepresentations of the truth. That's a responsibility when you start to see the bullshit out there, that you actually are able to call it out, you know, with solidarity, not out of an emotional reaction, not to try to prove something, but to reveal truth. Ring of humanity, blueprints of human destiny. The primary cause of human suffering is rooted in opinions which look few and speak only different. God, I wish I could read all of this. It's like fading away. Future evolution of mankind. The eye can only open once the inner sun arises. In the city, you experience the past, present, and future as a single eternal screen of consciousness. When you are free of the trap of the victim mind, your judgment becomes integrity. You know, so sometimes in the non-dual phase of this reality, it'll be like, oh, don't judge, don't judge. There are certain things to judge. There are certain things that are out of integrity. Now you need to be in integrity to call that out. You know, for an example, like experimenting on a human race, like mentally mind controlling an entire planet with technology, misleading a human planet, you know, putting chips in people, putting jabs and stabs in people, taking their fluids, experimenting on children, fake church, fake religion with millions and billions of dollars running around, and all their scandals, and all these big corporations are funded by the church. It's all just big money running around. Yeah. My integrity is judging that when there are people that don't have a house to live in or food to eat, and children being diagnosed and experimented on with cancers they probably don't even have, so they can get some more stem cells and adrenochrome to keep the vampires alive. What a shock, right? Integrity. Strength of material structures. Resolve issues from teenage ages, 7 years, body work. Demand and maintain a high standard in everything you do. As a fully healed adult, your purpose is to help others complete their childhood so they can finally enjoy their lives and pass on their integrity to their children. To uphold integrity, be courageous. Challenge anyone or anything that does not meet higher standards. To live with integrity is to take on the world, to challenge and melt. Damn, it's all like falling apart. This is so important. Upholding integrity, be courageous, and challenge anyone or anything that does not meet higher standards. That's what I'm doing right now, is I'm calling out, like, here, we're all awakening. There's a lot going on in the galactic awakening, in the cosmic disclosure, and there is not integrity in the White House. There is not integrity in the military. There is not integrity in the financial systems. There is not integrity in the religious systems. There is not integrity in the medical systems. And from that integrous place that I am in judgment of that. Because I've started to realize there is no justice system, because the whole thing is in on it. And so it's the ones in integrity that are the justice system. That is who we are. That is what we're coming into. That is what a guardian is. We hold that realm, we hold that field of integrity. and we call out what is not of the truth, because there has been a lot of misleading mental mind control, experimentation, and abuse on the human race, and it's feeding off of the confusion and the trauma. And so as a fellow human being and a galactic warrior, we want our people to be free. And so you have to want to be free yourself. We can't force freedom on anybody. But I imagine that anyone that's coming into the field of this dimensional reality of cosmic understanding, you must want to know. And don't take offense, right? Offense is taken, not given. Sometimes when the truth comes out, which will set you free, it can be offensive to anything you're still holding on to in an old world, to any attachments that you have about someone or something being right. Yeah, that can feel offensive when we're burning down attachments and delusions, and that we have to pierce our own veil of denial so that we can see. So this is where I throw out all the spiritual teaching. I know 0 point. I know compassionate witnessing. I know balancing the poles. I know all of these practices, and I trust and I honor all of those practices from a spiritual perspective, but it's also kept the people that do have integrity and knowledge about things to be like, wait a minute, something like a true whistleblower. Something's not right here. Something's not right with the ones that are running around pretending like they're solving their own problems, but it's just still another variation, another form of feeding off the people. And I'd be open to talking to anyone about this, like Sasha Stone, for an example. It sounds good on paper, this idea of this new Earth X exchange currency thing that's coming out. And of course, everyone's hopeful. They want some kind of financial plan and solution. But then it's like, what's really going on? He's like, at first he started off, it was around Easter time, and he's like, yeah, we have our new Earth currency, and it's showing white peacocks and biometric fingerprint readers. It's full monetary AI agenda. It's super obvious to me. And I've had to extract myself out of all the systems to be able to see it from where I'm at, without putting hope in any one person or man or structure that it's all taken care of, when there's a lack of integrity of some sort there. There's some missing pieces there. There's some hidden holes there. There's some affiliations. There's some associations. There are some intentions that may or may not be fully clear yet. It still feels like fall of Atlantis. We're in Atlantis right now, and it feels like a fall. It feels like a trick. And so anyways, he's like, everything is guaranteed. You're totally backed. Your money's safe with us. Get your money in the new Earth currency. And then like the next live that pops up, it's like, oh, and then, we got some death threats and we got some things. And so we had to go back and we had to make some changes. And we had to work with the international bankers and the royal banks. And it's like, okay, wait, this is not new Earth. So don't get it twisted. Sometimes people use words like new Earth or healer or shaman or free energy or, all the 0 point even. And I'm like, there's nothing free about this. What's the real agenda here? Start asking the questions. Start observing. Start asking if there are any ulterior motives or agendas here. It's okay to ask that question. You're not unhealed to ask that question. We've lost planets before. We've lost civilizations before. It's okay to be like, who is this person? Who is he operating for? What is his intention? What are his motives? Is he a part of an agenda? What is that agenda? Is it serving the people? Is this law of one? Is there any selfishness or service to self in this agenda? Or is this pure, clean, and true in integrity? It's nice to ask that question for everything. I'm saying the same thing about Laura Eisenhower. They're very connected, Laura Eisenhower and Sasha Stone. So I'm asking the same thing. It's not about if your grandfather signed a treaty or not. There were many other things that were going on as well, including NASA. It was all corrupt, as I've said before. So it is about us coming together and being like, what are we going to do about it now? Where are the righteous ones? Where are the ones in justice? Where are the ones that believe in planetary liberation, planetary freedom? How do we come together and work out these kinks and clean our historical lines, clean our family lines, clean any ulterior motives, clean any agendas, and we are for the people. For the people, not just for ourselves and not just for a few people, but for the people, for all beings. Calling everyone that's in a position of influence, in a position of leadership, to rise up into full integrity on all levels. Henry Williams, Robert Edward Grant. These are ones that I watch out there that I see have big followings and big influences. And I'm asking the question, what is the agenda of Henry Williams, who I remember I used to watch all of his Ascension Keeper stuff, the Ascent of the Family, the Queen of Heaven, the Trinity. Like, I really love that work. And now all of a sudden there's a lot of swirling in about the transhuman agenda. And I'm like, whoa. Who are you working for? What is your agenda? I know you do Magdalene retreats. I see you doing the Magdalene. I've seen you in the Athena, like in Tennessee. And like, I see you kind of talking about and honoring the goddess, but I'm like, this is confusing. This transhuman agenda, this very soft, like, are you going robot? Are you going not? Like, maybe you are, maybe you're not. Maybe the point of this ascension is, we find God through technology. No. What is the agenda? Sometimes I wonder where the robot is speaking versus the human heart. I get it. These are all just reflections of me. I don't mind being off. I don't mind being wrong. But I will say, if I have a resume to sell, which I don't, it's been that over the last 8 years, I have literally left behind all systems. Government, monetary, identification. I have untrans human agenda myself. To be able to see clearly and have no ulterior motives, except to get very clear, very honest, very aware of these agendas and what's going on. And with that galactic integrity, with that tone of integrity, with that galactic warrior energy of today, to just kind of bring in the invitation of all to rise into integrity. And so, yeah, with Robert Edward Grant, I'm just bringing up another one because these are people on the front line, influential fields of information. I've seen him go through a lot of massive change in a short period of time. It feels like maybe there's been some rituals involved, that have given him some power, some extra power and some fame and some recognition and things like that. And I feel that there's something in my intuition who goes, something feels a little off. Even like the other day, I saw that he posted that I feel the agenda in this, that his Instagram with 1 million followers was collapsed or something like that. And so it's like, oh, come into my Orion group. Oh my God, you got me blowing a balloon on the camera? Awake it. It already broke. It had a hole in it, I guess.
No, we don't wake it.
Well, I already awakened it before, but I don't know what you'll do with that one. Sorry. I'm not your best option in this team. I'm sorry. What were we talking about? Yeah, I didn't know. I'm not on here trying to attack someone's name or like say any. I'm just sharing with you that Yeah, exactly what this piece of paper from my Dead Sea Scrolls says. You know, where did it go? As a fully healed adult, demanding and maintaining high standards, upholding integrity and being courageous to challenge anyone or anything that does not meet higher standards. If it's still about making money and mining people for their data, for their information, or for their money and resources, it's out of integrity. Yeah, and so sometimes when I think about the Orion group thing, it's like, I know Orion electrical wards, and I know we're here to heal that. And I know that somehow everything has to come together. You know, River was telling me the other day, she was like, the darkness and the light have to come together. I didn't even teach her that. She just kept saying it. Now we know how the dark works, and the dark and the light have to come together. And I'm like, all right. I mean, I know we're here to assist the fallen realms, the fallen angels, into returning fully to the light. I know that prophecy is written. We are calling that in. We are calling in a galactic field of integrity for all beings, for all operations, for all systems, that we're no longer motivated by the same old material, monetary control structures, that we really are moving into the embodiment of the law of one. And so we need integrous pillars to invite that, to hold that, to model that, to embody that, to invite that. Nothing to sell here, and nothing to lose here, and nothing to gain here. Just a messenger of the truth and the light. Integrity on our planet is the motive. Integrity, purity, honor, honesty, transparency. You can't call it out if you can't live it. So my life is a transparency, a living testimony of that. There are no hidden agendas. There are no hidden alliances. There are no hidden allegiances, agreements, contracts of any sort. Just speaking here from the pure heart, for the people, for the planet, as an emissary of light, as a guardian. Not here to be liked. The truth is, it's not always popular. So there is a lot of confusion out there with people that are channeling information and channeling, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, and Elon Musk is this, and Donald Trump is saving the world. I'm like, that's a fucking lie.
You need to read it.
I know we all have our part to do, and the first step is coming clean. Coming clean and coming into full transparency, coming out of the closet, nothing to hide, living in integrity, inviting all the angels to rise, inviting all the guardians to show themselves, to come into clean counsel with each other as equals, and to really lead and serve and shift a planet from first the inner standard of integrity.
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Like, what do you mean with resurrection?
Do you want to share over here? Come. Eduardo wants to share about the resurrection. Well, he wants to probably talk over here, but this.
The original sense of the human are absolutely pure and innocent.
The original sense of the human is absolutely pure and innocent.
What I mean is we are one with the one, and the one are one with us.
That means we are one with the one, and the one is one with us.
Entonces, this is the time for resurrection, to return to the original essence.
This is the time of resurrection, to return to our original essence.
The resurrection means something need to die dead inside me.
The resurrection means something needs to die inside me.
For my true nature, my original being, reborn,
so that my true nature, my original being can be reborn.
have space. It's like one plant, have light, have space for growing, because something fake cover and take the honor, the throne to my original being, our God, the light, and my true nature.
That's water. I see. Got a water balloon. Is it water? Is it air? Well, water is heavier than air, isn't it? Just don't drop it by me because I don't need any water splashing. Go put that in a space where it's okay for the water to splash. Yeah, preferably outside. This will be a great alternative. Yeah, so, in a world of artificial and superficial, I'm so sick of the superficial shit. Where someone looks good on TV and then you meet them in person and they don't feel anything like they look and act out online. Where there's a level of personal importance or superficiality or the idea of like being above someone. This untouchable, like, no, we better be able to get into the intimate space. We better be able to get, namaste, Tristan. We better be able to get into the transparent field. We better be able to come and see each other as equals here, where we've like let go of our images of who we are as the important ones so that we can come together and sit at a table of a council of many beings here to be of great service. These are emissaries of light. These are councils of light. These aren't just channels where I'm not channeling anything outside of me. This is straight up. We are the emissaries. We are the guardians. We've come down here. We're here in the physical form. We are integrous as fuck, here to be of service to this planet. We represent the divine in the physical form. We have done the work of purification of the death and the rebirth and the resurrection. And we are calling all to come clean into the integrity fields so that we can put together our intelligence, our reach, our abilities, our skills, so that we can serve the human race. Wow, it's cool to see you guys. I don't know if you've been commenting the whole time or if these are just the first comments, because before there was like this little like field, but I couldn't see anything. Hi, Jacqueline. Great to see you too. Much love. What up, Aurora? Oh, it's fun to see y'all. I was just thinking I'm talking to nobody over here. Talking to somebody. Starting a little fire. I'm starting a fire because I'm feeling a fire. I'm feeling the fire of integrity. If you've been a liar in the past, if you've been a scammer, if you've been a cheater, if you've been a whatever the fuck, it's okay. Are you ready to be done with being a deceiver or a liar? Are you ready to be done with not being in integrity? Who are the ones that come forward as the lighthouses, the right houses? Who are the ones that come forward and come clean so that the rest can come clean too? Who's ready to stop living a lie? Who's ready to stop being any more important than anybody else? I am no more important than my neighbor who worked the rice fields, who worked the coffee fields, who bore many children, who were literally trafficked to New Jersey. I can't believe how many people I've met here in Costa Rica, especially in this particular location. I've lived here for 8 years. Welcome to Costa Rica. I can hear somebody driving with their little, I don't know, I think they're advertising like picking up people's old technology or something like recycling.
Whatever needs to be scratched.
They're picking up the trash, right? Oh, thanks, River. Thanks for letting me know. Yeah. Humble hearts of service. The other day, we met a man. We were staying at a different house and this man came. His name was Don Juan, Mr. Juan. He was born in 1943. He was born 1 year before my grandmother. She was born in 1944. And yeah, he told me that, you know, he grew up around the San Jose area, which is now a big city. But back then, everybody had what they needed. Nobody was really in money. They were just in community. They had no idea what was going on in the world. They didn't have like radio, TV, technology, stuff like that. You know, they were doing their thing. They were taking care of their plants and their fields, and they were sharing with each other. And you only needed money if you needed to buy salt. I mean, that wasn't that long ago. So if he was born in 43, let's just say that, you know, he's remembering the 1950s and maybe the 60s. And then all of a sudden, you know, JFK comes into the picture. And now we've got schools and hospitals everywhere. And that looks like, you know, the United States coming in to save the day. Tristan, you're here in Costa Rica right now? Or a different San Jose? And yeah, 8 years is a long time. It's hard to believe I've actually been here 8 years. And don't judge me that I'm not so great at Spanish, especially when I fell in love with a man that was born of this country. The USA to come in and harvest the chili. Oh my God, that's so terrible. You know, I've always said, I remember I've learned so much, you know, because it's like, I used to always say like, we're the MLK, the JFK, the John Lennon that doesn't get shot. But now like I have like questions about what the agendas about all of these revolutions were about. Because it feels like there's always like someone behind the scenes organizing it. And you know, in Gene Key 49, it says in revolutions, they go around and around in a circle. There's a rise and a fall. The river, I don't want water on me. I don't want water on me right now. No, but it could pop at any given moment, and I'm not interested. I am not interested. It is not just air. Look. She said this is just air, but this is actually a fun experiment to do, to have one balloon with water and one with air, and to see the difference in the weight, because air doesn't really do it. Yeah, do it. Fake heroes and leaders are MK Ultra Moon children. Damn, drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. So 1963. John F. Kennedy comes here. The day he arrives, there's a volcanic eruption, right? So people are going to see JFK and they're wearing the umbrella over their head because there's like still ash flying in the air like rain. And I was like, I had this revelation. I was like, oh my God, what if he traveled through the volcano? Because like, you know, when you think of the idea that there are inner travel systems, inner tunnel systems, and that this whole world is an ET operation with like many people that think they're just a limited human that's getting sick and dying of cancer. River, I don't want to play that game right now. I do not want a water game. I'm having a talk with everybody. And I'm going to close this down soon. I don't want to play with water balloons right now.
River.
There's too much risk in that. And I don't want to get wet, and I don't want my phone wet. Hey, thank you so much. I'll play with you later. My friend Jacqueline said she's sending her love to you, River. You're welcome to come over here and talk, but I don't want water balloons all over me. Oh, you want to do your little birdie sound? Oh my God. I do not want to be wet right now. I don't want to pop it. Get over there. Get over there. Yeah, so anyways, volcano eruptions, John F. Kennedy Jr. comes to Costa Rica in 1963 before he's off or whatever. Who even knows? Like all these assassination games, and people go to these other locations, and yes, it's very light. Just don't let them by the fire, because you know this will pop right away. And Yeah, so when I first found out that he came here, and there was actually even an address down in Etzkatsu area where the road was like 144 John F. Kennedy Boulevard or some shit. You know, the first time I ever even came into like the real reality of JFK, like, I mean, of course you grow up and like I lived in Texas and you learn history and you're just learning whatever you're taught and believing it all, that it like at face value or whatever. But, and you know, he was supposedly assassinated in Dallas, Texas. And so, yeah, like, you know, that's part of Texas history. So there's like world history, and then there's like nationwide history, and then there's like your state history. Like there's a state history museum, and it's all about war and, you know, all the things. Thank you, Tristan. Tristan says he loves you, River. Everyone sending love to you, River. You are so welcome to talk to my friends anytime. I just don't want you splashing water on me while I'm talking. Yeah, history is a lie, rule number 1. Well, I always have a lot of rules. I say rule number 1 of the Flight Club, we're time travelers. Rule number 2, history is a lie. If we're time travelers, right, his story is a lie. And we keep, just don't get it burned, because I have a candle right there. And it'll pop it immediately. You are testing me so hard right now. You are testing me so hard right now. Okay? Here, I'll hold these and I'll pop, okay? You hold that one, I'll hold this one. Israel was already in control when the assassination happened. Well, good point.
No, I hold it.
Okay. Just keep it away from my books, my hair, my phone, everything, okay? Thank you. I'll hold this one. Yeah, history, shootings, killings, presidents, government, education system, full invasion, guys. And you're still caught up on the Roswell event and looking for aliens, you know, waiting for the alien disclosure to come out. And I'm like, the whole medical and school system and governing system has been experimenting on humanity. These are the results. The world that we're living in right now are the results of this experiment. But I keep getting a little, you know, in many dimensions at the same time. Hope you're still following where I'm going with a lot of this. I want to go back to the idea of traveling through volcanoes and what's really going on there with volcanic travel. And that, of course, like, who's going down in the volcano? There's dangerous fire that comes out of those things at very unexpected rates that you might not ever know. Who wants to get caught in a volcano? But yeah, when you start to understand that weather is completely manipulated, because I used to always think it was all Mother Nature, but then I was like, oh wow, there's someone like calling the shots. There's someone like pulling the plug on things. There's someone like hitting a switch. In fact, I woke up last night and there was this massive like rain that just came out of nowhere. And I was like, whoa, I immediately said, this is absolutely alien technology manipulation. Like it literally came super heavy, super hard, and then stopped just like that. And that's, you know, weather patterns and the whole idea of weathermen predicting the weather. Now I can read it and see it all so clear. I couldn't before. I used to go and look. Yes. Yeah, it's like a little, don't let it get by the fire. Yeah, I used to believe in the weather. Now I understand it's all like a part of the predictive programming of this reality. It's like, oh, there could be a big storm. It's going to come through. It's like they're basically telling you when the next disaster is coming, you know. It's never a shock. There are definitely big patterns to read. And you know, the word weather actually says, we eat her. We eat her. Weather. But I just had like discovered that one day when I was looking at this book that River had found in the like donation box at the feria. it was about weather, and I was like, yeah, weather is not what we think it is. Neither are volcanoes, neither are earthquakes. Like all of a sudden, right, you open up those gates and you're like, oh, if earthquakes aren't just like random things that the Mother Earth does sometimes, right? That there's actually an alien operation going on where someone's pulling the trigger and like, all right, time to go. There's an explosion, there's a landing, there's a something, we need a distraction, or we want to destroy something so we can use, you know, Mason money, government money to like rebuild a whole city and get rid of the people in the city and basically replace it with all of our elite regimes, or call in our military operations or our alien organizations, right? It's like, yeah, dodge the hijack, right? Of this whole idea of like off-Earth alien races that are going to come down here versus that there are many races operating this Earth right now. So yeah, I remember the day that I was looking up John F. Kennedy and him coming here and thinking, oh wow, Kennedy came here in 63. And then the later time I was like, so what was Kennedy doing here anyways? And I saw that it was about schools and education systems and medical systems. And it was like, oh, alien invasion. But it's so tricky, right? Because in your mind, you're like, the government's coming to help us. They're going to educate our children and they're going to take care of all of their sicknesses. You know, that guy I was telling you about, born in 1943, where he said they didn't even need money and they had an abundance of food. They were never sick and they didn't need hospitals. You don't need a hospital till one's built by you, right? Supply and demand, right? And then all of a sudden, when you build a hospital, then you need sick people to come into it, right? So you're going to look for ways to make them more sick. So let's just poison, you know, it's just like, you start to understand the reversal of things and how people come in and pretend like they're your allies looking out for you, here to take care of you. And then it's like, they're all just running secret society operations, rituals, and playing games with the human race. You know, and money and drugs and sex. That's what's really going on behind the scenes. So everything comes in layers, right? Like for a very long time, I really believe 9/11 was just like this total freak, you know, whatever the story was that they told me. You know, every year on 9/11, I would wake up and I would go listen to the phone calls of the people that had to jump out their windows and were saying their last goodbyes on the answering machines and like cry and feel that. And I remember going to Ground Zero with my family the first time I'd ever been in New York City. We went to a wedding in New Jersey, and then we went to Central Park, and you know, and I was feeling all of that. And I think even at that time, I still believed this was just like some foreign dude that came and crashed the thing. And like, yeah, I had to die. I had to fucking die on the table to wake up and be like, what's really going on here? I mean, a lot of my friends knew from the beginning. They told me they knew 9/11 was a thing, like from the beginning, but it's like, wow, I had no idea. You know, I just was like so blindly, innocently just trusting everything's happening. And, you know, and then like all of a sudden when you wake up, you're like, who's in charge here? Who's pulling the tricks? Who's running the show? What's the real agenda? What's the purpose of this? What the fuck is really going on here? You know, you just open your eyes a little bit. You open your mind, you open your eyes, you open your heart. Look, I'm not angry here. I'm just asking questions, right? And I'm not falling for any scripts anymore. And I'm not here to be programmed anymore. And I'm not here to pretend or keep supporting these guys that have been in satanic rituals, pedophiles, and big money billionaires and millionaires and all their beauty pageants that they're going to save the world. I'm not a handler for those beings. You know, I'm going to call that out and say, light workers, wake up and stop pretending and stop making excuses. You're either unconsciously supporting these pedophile rings, or you're blindly believing that they're the ones that are going to save and end it without realizing they're the ones doing it. This is the cosmic disclosure. Someone wrote, they have been spraying so much chemicals. One, we have beautiful blue skies. Next, there's full-on black skies. It's just feeling weird in the atmosphere here. I don't even feel that I'm here to tell you the truth. Yeah, I can't see all of the comment, but 911 woke me up as a child. I was a senior in high school and knew then what was up. I was in my first year of college of on 9/11, 2001. This is so psychological, actually, okay? Here I was just at the community college in Central Florida. I'm with my homeboy, Robert Palenzuela. We went to high school together. We're about to go into psychology class. And there's a TV outside at the college, and it's showing these twin towers crashing, and it's like this news alert. And I'm just like, what are the twin towers? You know, like I didn't know what the twin towers were. I'd never heard of them. I mean, I guess I'd seen like skyrise pictures of New York, but like whatever. And so then you go into psychology class, you know, the same place they're talking about Pavlov's dogs and all the experiments. That was like the one class I was interested in the university was psychology, actually. Oh, this macro microeconomics was stupid from the second I heard it. And then like supply and demand and everything's always history and economics. It's like, ugh, who has been writing the books? Like, come the fuck on. Talk to me about some mysteries. Talk to me about some astrology. Talk to me about some myth that's not myth. Some truth. You know, magic abilities and time traveling and dematerializing and biolocating and free energy. Talk to me about some shit like that. Algebra 2, forget it. I dropped out of school. I was like, forget this. So anyways, my homeboy, Robert Palenzuela, after all of that happened, he dropped out of school and immediately enlisted in the army, in the military. He ended up becoming a Green Beret, and then like, I don't know, something to do with helicopters and going to places and I don't know, and battles and shooting and killing and things like that. And God, I understand that there's like, it's all in the name of something. There's a reason that you believe that killing someone is supposed to happen. And I know a lot of it is like, oh, you see this guy over here in Iraq, he's raping children, kill him. And I'm like, yeah, but so is the man in the Republican suit. So is the man in the black hat. So is the father of the church. Are we shooting them? What's the military doing about that? Are we just pretending it's all in some other country and we're solving a problem over there? Are we looking at our country? Are we calling the kettle black? Is that what they say? You know, this is the real revelation. This is the real truth, and these are the things that we have to look at and that we have to recognize. And so we can't get too love and light and pretend like none of this exists and none of this is really going on, because we are here on this planet in a very particular moment in time, which I would call divine intervention. And divine intervention looks like integrity, truth, justice, honor, revelations, disclosure. My sister's husband's sister was living over there at the time, and her husband was working in that building. They were meant to be working. Something happened that they didn't end up there that day. Yeah, that's interesting how it all happened, right? Like, it's interesting how many people I've met that like lived in that area or were just in that area either a little before or a little after that happened. At the end of the day, you can take this to a holographic level, that something was going on with the mind field and our perceptions of reality, very similar to, let's say, like how COVID happened and there's a quarantine And the next thing you know, there's an entirely new infrastructure of electromagnetic frequency weapons right before your eyes. You know, I know one of the things that 9/11 did, it created this idea that we needed mass amounts of security. So we needed to hunker down more on identification, making sure that everybody was really who they said they were, you know, fingerprints and pictures and metal detectors. And like, it used to be that somebody could drop you off at the airport and go right to the gate, but now they couldn't, kind of thing. And it's like, you know, like, they make bad things happen so that you're like, oh, we need security. We need someone to protect us. We need cameras everywhere. We need eye scanners. We need fingerprint scanners. And everyone's like, yeah, protect us, you know, make sure that we go through all the security checkpoints, and like they're looking out for you. 911 is where we lost the plot. 911 is where we lost the plot. And you know, it's interesting, my girl Aurora on here, she's kin number 107, which is the same kin as Donald Trump, actually. So we're the correction. We're the Sophionic correction coming in. We can see the truth, we can see the lies, we can see the motherfuckers. And we're here to talk about it. And so anyway, she's number 107 and I'm number 144. This is in the Galactic Maya. So we equal together 251, which is blue monkey. And that is the kin in the Mayan time counting, timekeeping. 251 is the kin that 9/11 happened on. And so when she came into my field of resonance and we started to talk, and like I'm doing all the mathematics of things because that's how I get nerdy, and that's how we move everything to more of the cosmic consciousness in the transpersonal field. It was like, oh shit, we're the rewrite of the 911 code. We are the divine intervention. We are the revelation. We are here to serve humanity with the truth. We are here to equip the people with the knowledge and the wisdom and the power. We are here to invite all to return to the light in our own ways. But we really do have to come together in council. That is the next level steps here. We've got to lay down the personal importance. We've got to come together with the mind, body, soul, law of one, mission, integrity on all levels to serve something bigger than ourselves. We're all being called into that. So, I mean, I could talk forever and ever and ever, but I see that it's been 2 hours, 2+. Oh, I did want to tell you how I first was kind of coming into the idea of JFK. I was pregnant. It was my third pregnancy. I'm very grateful that I had 3 pregnancies. Well, I've had 4 pregnancies and 4 children. All 4 C-sections. It's crazy my body has survived what it went through in there to be mutilated that many times. But wow, I have learned our bodies are resilient. They can heal anything. Like literally 4 times I went in and got mutilated in the gray alien UFO abduction department and literally walked out and like could walk the next day and my body was healed. Like after, it's just, we don't trust our bodies enough. We do not trust our bodies enough. If you just stop doing what you're doing and relax, stop working, stop stressing, stop drinking, stop smoking, stop eating bad shit, get some rest. Like your body can heal from anything just like that. You don't need a peptide either. Peptide, reptile. I was looking at the word peptide and I was writing reptile peptide. People are getting these reptiles. Oh my God. People are getting these peptides and they don't even know what they are. They know they came from China. They know whatever online scientific looking story is written out there. You know, I was just talking to someone a couple months ago about like, how will they get the ones that were smart enough to remember not to get vaccinated? Peptides, vanity. How do you get the ones that are on the awakened trail of like health and, you know, but they're calling it the new anti-aging. The peptides. It says on the outside, it says for experimental purposes only, research purposes only. You do not know what is in there. You do not know what you are self-injecting yourself with.
Also
Made in China. You do not know what the long-term results of that. It is transhuman agenda.
I think my point of view, people from Central America, Costa Rica, from products from China, they need to know people from US have different standards. They know the truth about products of China, how fake and poison it is. Also after the COVID. And everybody in US accepting, our peptide from China is high quality. So why you think so? It's a high quality, it's from China. Everything from China is the more dark agenda.
Everything from China is the dark agenda. I mean, unless you want to be a robot over there living in a grid where you're pretty much controlled and you report to the government on your phone, and if you don't follow the rules and comply, and if you ever say anything that is anti-government, you know, that you'll get in trouble or you won't be able to cash out your checks, or, you know, if you're not a good girl or boy, you won't get your money for the week, or whatever the games are out there. That's already been happening over there for a long time. The way I see it when I look at all of the continents, it's like I kind of feel the essence of China, and it's a shame because there's like some deep historic roots with like, yeah, jades and reds and greens and jades and like architectures, and then all of a sudden the alien invasions come in, and the alien invasions are all of these wars and histories that we've been taught, and the idea of linear time. See, linear time is what messes with us every time. Because you're like, oh, the historical root, the historical facts, the cultural from this time to that time, and you think in linear time. That's the first thing that we must collapse to really start to understand the holographic nature and the mathematics of this reality. So, okay, I'm going back to John F. Kennedy. I was pregnant with my son Dyer. It was December. He was due in May. So this is 5 months before I'm about to die, but I have no idea. I'm a CrossFitter. I am like super healthy, super successful in my business, kind of at the peak of the American dream life. And we won this like, I don't know, $20,000 trip on a very high-end private cruise, the Windstar cruise. And it's through the British Virgin Islands. And so we're going to the British Virgin Islands. It's so beautiful, the color of the water, oh my gosh. And it's a little sad because I end up like pretty sick. I have some kind of coldish flu type of thing. And so I can't really go out and do much sinus stuff. And I was set up to go swim with the dolphins, but they wouldn't let me because I was pregnant. They wouldn't let me go swim with the dolphins because I was pregnant, and they said it was dangerous, which is not true, but that's what they said, you know. But anyways, here I am on this $1 million cruise ship, $1 billion cruise ship, and I really couldn't do much. I was like sitting in my cabin, and we end up watching like a documentary about John F. Kennedy, and then it's like the first time I realized, oh wow, it's something connected to Lyndon B. Johnson, and yeah, that was, I guess, the beginning, because Austin, you know, has a lot of LBJ, like even the highway is called LBJ, and Lady Bird Lake, it's all after Lyndon B. Johnson. And Texas is known for big oil money, just big money and politics and Republican-ish, whatever. Austin was always like a little different than the rest of the country. Texas is like its own country in so many ways. But they say everything is bigger in Texas. Yeah. Anyways, that was my first like introduction into the questioning of our history and what was really going on and presidents and stuff. I still wasn't on the like understanding the ET dimensions of things. Tartaria hadn't come into my field yet. Eventually, though, the last time I did go to Austin, Texas, it was April 2023. And I end up at this church right like just a block from the Austin Capitol building. And this guy meets me, the gardener meets me, and he'd already been leaving for work, but he literally invites me to come inside with his keys. I'm always getting invited to go into churches. I'll end up there and it'll be locked, and I'm like, damn. And then I'm like, and then somebody shows up with the key, like, want to go in this church? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I go inside and there's this golden plaque with the engraving of Lyndon B. Johnson on the front pew of this church. It felt very Tartaria-ish. I could definitely tell that there was underground information, underground tunnels in this area. Something I wouldn't have been able to perceive back then. I mean, it does make sense. There's like a lot of bars and downtown stuff, and there's like underground parking, but then it goes levels and layers and levels and layers. Someone once told me Austin, Texas would be the birth of a new nation. And also the Purple Crown. Yeah, I still have my attachments to Austin in some way. I mean, I haven't been there in a long time, and I don't have attachments, but my son is still there. He's turning 19, Lawson, my firstborn. And there are some beautiful things about it. My mom and dad and my grandmother and a lot of my family's in Texas. What was I gonna tell you though? Kennedy assassinations, history is a lie. Oh, well, I wanted to tell you this. Some of my biggest like time-space dreams have been where like literally I end up arriving in Austin, Texas through some kind of, like I end up coming out of the back of like a convenience store that's in the downtown Austin area. And it like somehow I'm in this like China store or something like that. And then I step out and I'm like, oh shit, I'm in Austin, Texas. But I have actually always felt like if there were ever a way that I could teleport or time travel somewhere, or even like inner earth travel, that Austin, Texas is one of those, is those spaces and places. Latitude 30, by the way. Which I connect to Gene Key 30, the Rapture. Anyways, that's all I'm going to drop in for the codes today. Rapture, Austin, Kennedy. I have someone who's definitely a big Kennedy follower and been studying a lot with the Kennedy and the Marilyn Monroe and things like that. And she sent me some pictures from a book about Roswell. And I told her, I was like, I have a suspicion that that whole Roswell thing and that UFO and alien thing is the biggest bullshit I've ever heard. And she was like, really? And I was like, yes. This whole operation is ET. This whole planet is ET. Everyone's still getting caught up on a little UFO and a fake gray alien species when there's been cloning and experimentation on humans and animals and injections of this or that and labs and clones like the whole time. So don't get it twisted. Don't fall for it. It's all been operating. It's all been going on the whole time. I've said this before. To me, the gray aliens are running the whole experimental system in the hospitals on the highest level. I know there are like humans in their roles that might think that they're just like helping people get healthy, but like, when are we going to wake up from the slumber and be like, why are people getting sicker, deader, more cancer, more disease, more death? It's like, okay, let me get back here. Let me get back to health sovereignty. Let me get back to being responsible for my body, being responsible for my health, being responsible for my mind, being responsible for my eyes and what I look at, being responsible for my starship, being responsible for my galactic technology. So anyways, I'll be hopping back on Wednesday, 2 days at, that's my afternoon time frame. On Wednesdays, I'm always open to someone coming on and talking with me. So if you've ever felt like you're supposed to come on and just like, we can have a chat flow, as you can see with these, we're just dropping in code and weaving information. And I'm pretty open to what is meant to organically take place. I might have to ask my homeboy because he's planetary mirror and it'll be planetary mirror. But anyways, I'll be back here on Wednesday in the afternoon. Thank y'all for joining. If you're ever feeling the call to work in person and come to Costa Rica, hit me up, message me about that. Let's talk about what it could look like. And if you've ever been curious to work with me in the one-on-one field, I'm super open, approachable, friendly, kind, and love to connect on this level. Just send me a private message on Facebook and let's get this party started. I do everything in humble service.
I'm going to be posting
with
it here
zero.
on the Facebook page, and we've got 2 more post sets. We've got 2 more sets. Maybe we'll get 1 set tomorrow, hopefully.
Oh, wow, interesting. What does that sound from? I don't even know. Someone's talking in the background. I don't know if that's on my phone or if that was on Marcus's computer or what. And I don't know if you guys heard that, but I heard that. I just don't know who or what it was. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, if you feel the call to ever contribute in any kind of donation way to what we're doing here, that is always greatly appreciated. We live a very simple and humble life. Any and everything that is contributed to us goes towards our basic needs of fruits and the simple things in life. So if you've ever wondered, I hear about people contributing to like the United Nations and the American Cancer Society. You have no fucking idea what they're doing with that money. But if you've ever felt the call to give or contribute or share in any way, you heard that voice? Yeah, I'm like, who was that? Fascinating. I'm always open to receive cosmic donations and inviting that in. So anyways, much love to all of you all. Gene Key 62, if you feel like contemplating anything today. And the 61 is its programming partner. Both of those are great codes to read into. But until the next episode, la da 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 da. Perfect. Now we're going. Everyone have a beautiful day. See you on Wednesday.